The biggest talking point in the photography community for a long time now has undoubtedly been AI. I've seen statements such as photographers will no longer be needed in the future, editing will no longer be a skill. I've seen real photos being accused of being AI imagery, and I've seen AI imagery trying to be passed off as real photos. Today, while I'm out hopefully getting a few photos, I thought I'd share my 2 cents on this topic and hopefully put a little bit of a positive spin on something that on the surface seems like quite a daunting future for photography. Now, first things first, I'm not particularly anti-AI. I use it for work all the time. I think it's really interesting, and there are a lot of scenarios where I think it's a positive move forward. However, being a photographer, I don't always agree with it in the art world, and I do think, of course, it's going to change the way we create and consume content. And while for photographers it may seem like AI brings lots of negatives to the table, in some cases of course it does, I think it is pretty easy to put a positive spin on most of those negatives. So let's talk about one of these positives by using the digital camera as an analogy. Obviously, with the release of digital cameras, they outshone and overtook film cameras. And if you think about it, there's technically no reason for anybody to be using film cameras anymore. But despite that, the film photography community and industry continues to shine. When I come across an amazing film photographer, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely really impressed. Not only because of the higher skill cap, but also out of respect for the sheer dedication to film photography that they have. This in turn gives film photographers that are really, really good a nice little angle to shine through the noise and become a prominent figure in that space, because there's less people doing it, so it allows them room to stand out more. As AI continues to grow and more people are using it and accessing it, I think that digital photography may have similar feelings attached to it, because anybody will be able to sit and generate incredible AI imagery, but unfortunately knowing that it's been generated by a computer strips it of most of its charm, in my opinion anyway. And because of that, as more and more people start shifting towards that style of creating visual content, I think a whole new level of respect will rise for photography. Not that it's not already respected, but a whole new level. I also think that in years to come, we may see a bit of a decline in the younger generations growing up and practicing photography, because they'll be growing up with AI. AI systems will be even better. So they might be going off to uni to learn about AI, or they might be self-teaching themselves AI imagery from their bedroom. But to link back to my initial film photography analogy, less people practicing a medium is never really a bad thing. Yes, there might be less people to talk about it, and there might be less younger people learning it, but that just gives us all potential to shine through a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to try and take a real surreal shot here. See this light on the back wall and the window there that's beaming the light through. I'm going to expose this camera that's recording so that all of the dark portions of the image are very dark, and the light is basically all that you can see. And then I'm going to come in, stand in this light portion looking up at the window, and hopefully get something that's very, very different for me, but I think will be super cool. So let's go do that. People have just arrived over there, so maybe I'll be able to get a shot with them in, which would be pretty cool, because I wasn't expecting a single person to come up here today. I suppose I'll have a chocolate bar while I wait. So another thing on a lot of people's mind is probably job displacement. While companies will probably turn to AI for cost savings and faster turnarounds on imagery that they can generate, there's still so many avenues that require a real person, a real photographer, for real events and real moments. Take wedding photography and event photography, for example. Unless one day we end up with robots that can go around be in the right place at the right time, take incredible images with the same emotion that a human can at these events, then I don't really see it being a worry. Maybe in 100 years we'll end up with something like that. But even if we did, my assumption is that hiring a company with robots to do that is probably going to be way more expensive than hiring a human. So yeah, I also like to think, and this might be me just being overly positive, that humans will still like to support other humans' creativity. I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but the same way I would rather buy a hand-built wooden ornament off of Etsy or a craft market rather than buying one from a mass-produced high street store. And the same way you might buy a coffee and a pastry from your local small family-run coffee shop rather than going to a big supermarket chain, because we know we're supporting someone's craft and dedication to doing what they love, and smaller businesses. So for that reason, I do think that humans hopefully will always support other humans and their crafty endeavors. I think this image here is quite nice. I'm just waiting for the castle in the background to grab some light. I've never actually shot the castle from up here before, so it'd be interesting. The castle's got light now, so let's just see. Now the castle's catching the light and the foreground isn't, which is quite nice. Trying not to frame the castle too far to this side of the frame, just to keep it nice and balanced. Look at that, man, proper, just a postcard scene, that, isn't it? Proper postcard scene. I think the fence is probably a little bit too far to this side, so if I come up here a bit to hopefully push them together, let's give that a try. If not, that fence on its own makes quite a cool shot. Let's see if we can get them together a bit more. Perfect example right here of using your feet with a prime lens to change perspectives and get the shot that you want. So just come right down here to bring these two subjects closer together, the fence and the castle in the background. Because before up there, they were just too far spaced out, which just didn't look right. So right here, also what it's doing by coming down here is creating a leading line with the brick wall that runs up to the castle, so it's really nice. Castle on the top left hand corner and the fence on the bottom right hand corner, which for me is the one. So obviously where AI seems to be affecting creative mediums the most right now are tools and software that give people, everybody, easy access to skills that have taken other people years and years to perfect. In the photography world, we've obviously got photo editing that's massively being affected by AI, and unfortunately, this is something we're just going to have to accept. Editing is going to be more accessible and easier for everybody to do. As I preach in so many of my videos, good photography cannot exist with good raw files coming from the camera in the first place. Skilled photographers are still going to be taking the best images from scratch themselves with their camera, so no matter how good editing gets, how good automation gets, I still only really see this as a pro, because the photographers at the top of their game taking incredible raw images and then using these faster, more powerful editing capabilities are the ones that are going to benefit from the most at the end of the day. And when it comes to how accessible the extreme parts of editing, such as sticking boats and people that aren't even there into your images via generative AI, when it comes to that being more and more accessible, I think it's safe to say everyone agrees once you start doing that, it's no longer photography anyway. Of course, we all know this does come with the sad reality that many people will probably try and pass off half AI, half photography, merged images as real photography, or even full AI images as real photography. We are already kind of seeing that. But again, that's also always kind of been the case with composite imagery anyway. For decades, there's been people posting images online that are composites, and not disclosing it or passing it off as real photography. So realistically, it's just the same thing, but faster and easier and more accessible for people to do. And if people that do manipulate the system and try and pass off fake images as real images or whatever do annoy you, just ignore them. Get on with your day, go outside and take a few photos that are real and just have a laugh. So to finish this video on a super high note, I wanted to mention something that will never ever go away in the world of photography. Sure, you could sit behind your computer and tell AI to spit out a generated image. Of course, you can lie on social media and say that AI imagery is in fact real photography. But for most of us practicing photography, whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, photography is so much more than just taking photos. It's about getting out to the locations, getting out of your house, keeping fit, connecting with nature, meeting people, models, having nice conversations with other photographers, and being part of a community where all of us come together and we all have the same passion for one hobby. That alone is something AI will never be able to replace. Sure, in the future we might be able to put a VR headset on and transport ourselves to a different part of the world. Who knows, we might even be able to walk around cities in real time virtually and take screenshots of things that we see and try and pass that off as photography. But is that ever going to have the same feeling as going somewhere in real life and taking photos for real? Of course it's not. There's pride attached to creating something yourself, knowing you researched a place, went there, put real thought and effort into the images, used a real camera, took the images, and then you can share it with the world. So no matter how good VR, AI, and all of the other variations get, that's something you're never going to be able to take away from photography. Yes, like I said, we might see a decline in photographers, we might see an uprise in what images are real and what images aren't, but if anything, it's going to shine more light on those photographers out there still grinding, still taking incredible imagery and having a real passion for the craft. So do I think AI will ruin photography or kill photography in the future? No, it has implications, it might dumb it down a bit, but it will never put the fire out for good. That being said, I've got to end this video because I'm on the clock with the AI robots and they're going to come and get me, so I'll see you in the next one. Not really, I'm just really hungry.